My name is Dr. Winklet Gallimore. I'm the Associate Dean for the Student Experience, and I trust that up until this point, you've been having a fairly good university experience. Of course, we would have loved to have seen you all and all of that type of stuff, but unfortunately, let's hope that next semester that will happen. So we will be starting in a couple of minutes. We're just getting everything together. So give us 3 minutes and we will be back. All right. Okay. Are we back? Sure. Are we back now? Are we back?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay. I think we're back. So, as I said before, I am Dr. Gallimore, and it's my pleasure to be with you today. Today, we are going to be talking about the topic. The topic is to transfer or not to transfer. That is the question. And the truth is that many persons, when they come into our faculty, which is the faculty of greatness indeed, when they come into our faculty, some persons have a desire to do something else. And here at the University of the West Indies, we want this to be your place to shine. And so if it is that you're going to be shining in FST, shine on. And if it is that you have a desire to shine elsewhere within this university space, then we want to facilitate that as well. Even though, we will sad to see you go and all these things, but we want persons to pursue their dreams. But we also want persons to recognize what are the pros and the cons associated with something that they want to pursue. Because sometimes you see it looks glamorous and glitterous and, all the bells and whistles. But the truth is that there are some other facets to a field of study that you may not see on the outside. And sometimes you also have to do that self-reflection and that analysis to see, do I really want to do this? Or is the situation where my mommy wants me to do it, my daddy wants me to do it, my auntie wants me to do it? They'd be so proud if they heard that I was doctor this or doctor that. So we want to have a frank and open discussion today. You will be allowed to ask questions. And so you can put those questions in the chat when we get to the last section of the program. All right. So today we have with us Mr. Marcel Denny, who is from the Department of Chemistry, and he also happens to be the representative for the postgraduate students here in the Faculty of Science and Technology. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Denny. Thank you for joining us today. So we are going to be seeing it and having the discussion from more than one angle, okay? So we're going to have it from the angle of, yes, the person who has come through FST and achieved what he thought, what he has had as his dream and goal. And we have other persons who have taken a different pathway for their own dreams and goals to be realized. All right, so that is Mr. Denny. Is a goodly doctor in the house? As yet? Okay, I think we have the goodly doctor in the house. Wonderful, wonderful. And so here we have Dr. Tarif Montaque. He is obviously a medical doctor. I actually met him when he was a preliminary chemistry student just a couple of years ago. And then, he transferred after 1 year to the Faculty of Medical Sciences, and he has excelled in the Faculty of Medical Sciences. And so he's going to give you a little bit of history about his life and all these wonderful things. I think he's from the parish of St. Mary. And so there may have been a lot of changes that would have had to have happened once he set foot on the UWI Mona campus. So I'm going to turn over to Dr. Montaque, who's going to give us a little bit of a snippet of his journey from FST to the Faculty of Medical Sciences. Over to you, Dr. Montaque.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. Good evening, Dr. Gallimore. Good evening to the viewers. In terms of my journey from the Faculty of Science and Technology and throughout medical school, also in terms of my background, I would say it has been an unpredictable journey. Certainly from making the transition from St. Mary into Kingston, that was the first part of the journey. At the beginning, I didn't plan on doing medicine. At first, I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to pursue a career in the medical field, but I was encouraged by those who saw my potential and encouraged me to participate in medicine because they saw what aptitude I had and what capabilities I had. I'm from a nuclear family in St. Mary, humble beginnings. I did fairly well as a student in high school, and initially throughout high school, I wanted to become a pilot, but that never worked out. And I made my way into the Faculty of Science and Technology on a scholarship from the NCB. After the first semester, I did fairly well, and others came to me and they would say, you're doing very good. You should transfer. You should move faculty to medicine. And I said, oh well, tell me how you go about doing that. And they showed me how to go about doing it, and from there on, the rest is history. But it hasn't been smooth sailing, and it wasn't that straightforward. At the beginning, the very, very first time I actually did an exam in science and technology, I remember the grade was around 60 something percent, and I was so taken aback. But I remember making a resolution to myself at the time saying that I can't leave from so far to travel so far, made a transition to university, one of the first persons in my entire family to make it to university, to come to university to be mediocre. And there on out, I made a commitment to myself to do better. And from there on out, I would work a little hard. I remember having a specific meeting with Dr. Gallimore very early out in the preliminary chemistry course, early in the first semester. And she made a comment in the class to say that for some of us, the learning curve is a little steeper than for others. Because for me, after doing CSEC chemistry, I didn't do chemistry in Cape because I had no plans to do medicine. And that's how I ended up in preliminary chemistry in Faculty of Science and Technology. And from there on out, I guess I put my shoulder to the wheel and I dug in and I did the work that was necessary in the chemistry program, though hard. And it worked out because I managed to get a GPA of over 4 point something. And I matriculated to the Faculty of Medicine. And from there on out, I figured out how to master the art of studying and the art of getting the grades that are necessary so that I could, one day become Dr. Montaque. And so that one day maybe I could have a platform like this where I can encourage other students to chart their own course, because it's all about your own race. And when you chart your own course, then eventually you will get to a point where you can eventually give back to others and realize your own dreams.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. So the truth is that no matter where you're from, no matter where you start, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters the result that you get to where you want to go in life. All right. So wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing this in terms of so you got a 4 point something, many people would really, really love to have at the end of semester one a 4 point something. You don't even remember exactly what was it. Wonderful. All right. So that is Dr. Montaque and his journey. If my memory serves me correctly, I think he graduated in the medical sciences at the top of his class. Is that not correct, Dr. Q?
Yeah, that's correct. That's also true. When I transferred faculties, I was also granted. When I transferred faculties, I was open scholarship, and the open scholarship basically covered my tuition, my living expenses, also gave me a stipend and for living, and also gave me a book grant, and that was helpful, and that also served as a motivating factor throughout the course of medical school, because there was a GPA requirement 3 point something. But in all these things, I set a bar slightly higher for myself than the 3.0 that was required by the university to maintain the scholarship. My bar was 3.6, and when I graduated from medical school, my GPA was 3 point a lot, and I did graduate at the top of the class, doing not so bad in the courses in the MBBS exams, medicine, surgery, and obstetrics and gynecology.
Okay. Great. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was Dr. Montague. And so I'm going to now ask Dr. to be, Dr. to be, Marcel Denny, to share what his journey has been like and what were some of the bumps in his road. He's a postgraduate student in the Department of Chemistry, as I would have mentioned before, and he recently transferred from the MPhil program to the PhD program. So he's on a track to become Dr. Denny. So, Mr. Denny?
Hey, good evening.
Please share with us what your journey has been.
Okay, so you want it from undergrad, like whatever I should start from. All right, so I'll just start.
Okay, maybe he's having connectivity issues. That is the current story of our lives here.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Marcel.
Are you okay?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay. Hold on, I'm trying to connect my earphone.
Okay, he seems to be out again. Okay, he seems to be out again. So let us see when he comes back in. But so there are several guys. Please remember, have your questions on hand that you want to ask. Okay, I think he's back now. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Denny.
Right. Sorry about that. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So thank you for welcoming me. First of all, I'm very honored to be welcomed and allowed to, or given the privilege to join such an important segment. So as Dr. Gadamoda pointed out, my name is Marcel Denny. I started here as an undergrad. The initial thought I always had was to do medicine, right? Now, this intention was born out of a passion from ever since I was young. So I wanted to help people. I thought I would do something spectacular, you know, and put medicine on the map in Jamaica. That was originally my intentions. However, you know, life has a different story. So I remember after doing CXC and K, I got an offer into the medical faculty. However, I didn't have enough quality points to make to the sponsored side, right? So I was on full fee paying side. I decided to come to first year and do some of my courses here to transfer again to try and get into the Faculty of Medical Sciences, the MBBS degree. When I did that, my grades were better than CSEC and CAPE. Unfortunately, they raised the subsidy point level to get into the sponsor side in the year I reapplied. So I decided to join in and then see if I could fight my way through, find the money. I joined. I was applying for the Partway Scholarship, where they meet half of your expenses if you show enough of your capabilities of meeting the other half of the tuition. You'll cover half of the tuition. And I applied for that along with a lot of other scholarships that were available. I mean, you name it, I applied for it. And I sent out resumes to different organizations all over the place. Every day I was emailing, sending out letters, applying all over the place I could find. I was rejected by almost every one of them. I mean, I didn't get the path, I didn't get the bursary. That is what they call it in medical faculty. I didn't get the bursary. And I didn't get the bursary, so I end up now coming back over into science and technology because I couldn't fund myself in the faculty any at all, being rejected by all the scholarships. And it's not because I didn't have good grades, it's just that it's very competitive, right? Coming back into chemistry, I chose chemistry because in first year, when doing chemistry, I met some awesome lecturers like Dr. Singh Wilmot. I met Dr. Gallimore from high school, but I don't think she remembers. She met me like way, way before I even came to UA. So she met me in high school, and I met Dr. Singh Wilmot as well, Dr. Porter. Who else? Well, sir, there was a lot of lectures in first year. I don't remember exactly who taught in first year, but those were the key lectures that kind of inspired me and grabbed my attention to how chemistry can be used to change lives, and science as a whole can be used to change lives and make an impact and help people using science. So when I decided to come back, was now the end of the second week of school. I came back to Faculty of Science and Technology, being that I wasn't able to fund myself in the medical faculty. I came back and I went to the department, seeing if I could get an offer to do chemistry within the Department of Chemistry, do chemistry. I asked questions and they allowed me into the department, but the fact was that I came to school 2 weeks late, so I missed about 5 labs. So I had to play catch up, and it took me about 6 weeks to catch up with everything that I missed. And I'm telling you guys, it was not easy. It was a very warm time for me, but the lecturers helped me. I mean, the demonstrators also stayed back and helped me. I ended up had to doing 5 labs per week to just kind of catch up and meet. So that would be including of the current labs that was held for that week and the past labs that I missed, because I didn't want to take a 0. And moving on forward to the end of the first semester, I was surprised to see that I got an award into the Chemistry Honor Society. Now, this is me coming into school late. One of the things I was wondering if I was even able to make it in chemistry, because at that point in time, the GPA system has changed from where A used to be a 69, 70, now A is 80%. And recognizing that, okay, I'm back in chemistry, the plan originally was to chart a path to go back into medicine. So get a first class honors and chart my way going back into medicine. Again, life doesn't happen as the way you always wanted it to be. While here doing chemistry, like I said, the first semester I got my first entry into the honor society. I realized that I really enjoyed the type of chemistry that I was doing. I learned different applications of it. I saw how useful it was. And as I continued to work and do my part, I end up noticing that I was excelling. I was excelling in almost all chemistry courses. I was top in the class in some instances, Very surprised. I'm telling you, it wasn't expected at all, but I was very surprised and I was very humbled to see that I was able to manage to work over by this faculty. And I pursued it further, and I pursued it further, and as I worked hard, I mean the awards kept coming. I got top performer in organic chemistry. I got some other awards. I got Diamond Award in Honor Society. I moved from bronze all the way up to diamond status. I got commendations from the faculty for semesters. I got a first class honors, ending up with a first class honors in chemistry. And when I got that, I said, okay, now I'm able to go back into medicine. But because I love chemistry so much and I enjoyed what I was doing, I decided to just continue and pursue a PhD in chemistry, where now my attention is now shifted from helping people in medicine, but helping people doing chemistry. So that is where one of my research focuses now, a form of medicinal chemistry. So I'm using the chemistry to achieve the same goal from a different perspective, a chemistry perspective. Thank you, Dr. Gam. I'll hand over back.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Denny. I have a question for you though. What do you find most rewarding as you study the chemistry?
What was I found most rewarding? Well, the most rewarding part of the whole process for me was I could actually see the real life applications. When I learned about, when I was doing food chemistry, I learned about the different chemical processes that occurs when you make food, when you fry an egg, when you do certain things, when you're looking at me right now, chemistry is going on. That I found to be very rewarding. I can actually explain life around me using chemistry. How DNA molecules fold and the sickle cell anemia versus the normal hemoglobin molecule. All of that explained by how the steric hindrance is playing a role in all these things. When I learned all of that, that just fueled my passion to learn more about chemistry. I didn't know it was so exciting. And also the fact that I could make stuff, made a lot of stuff in the department. That I found to be in chemistry.
Okay.
How DNA molecules fold and the sickle cell versus the normal hemoglobin molecule. All of that explained by how the steroids is in a role in all. I learned all of that. It's the department.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to come back over to Dr. Montague to give us some study tips. So, as I said before, he graduated top of his class, so he must know you who may want to also transfer to the Faculty of Medical Sciences. And it's not just about transferring, it's about being the best that you can and putting in the work and putting in the effort to get to where you want to go. So, Dr.
So study techniques to help students succeed in chosen fields. Well, to be honest, once you've been accepted to the University of the West Indies, you have what it takes. You know, I believe in you. The fact that you have completed the necessary requirements at the high school level and at the CAPE level to matriculate to UA. Am I still on? Right. So as I was saying, the difference between the high achieving student and the regular student, because no one is a failure. None of the students, not you. If you are watching this right now, I can tell you you're not a failure. But the difference between the high achieving student and the regular student are the simple things. The simple things are what makes the difference. So let's start with organization. And it sounds, the words that I'm going to use now are going to be very simple words, but they're almost like indispensable cardinal things that you need to have and practice in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So the organized student will always outdo the unorganized student. Organization stems from waking up on time, being present for your classes, scheduling the classes beforehand to minimize clashes, placing the notes in appropriate notebooks, or if you don't use books, if you use the tablets, placing the notes where you can find them when you're ready to use them. Organization in the sense that you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses. You know when you need to start studying for the exam in order to cover all the material, because one of the main reasons why students don't do well is that they end up going into the exam without having covered most of the information, if not all of the information. Personally, I like to go over the topic at least 5 times before going into the exam. And so we'd find time to get over an exam, a topic 5 times. so many things to do. But really and truly, it comes down to the next important thing, which is time management. While on campus, I was actively involved in a lot of different non-academic activities. You know, I was active on the guild. I was hall chairman for chancellor, and I still found time to, and I did participate in the activities of hall life. But I found that I went to church, and I found time to to study. You know, maybe I study much longer hours than a regular student, but that doesn't mean you can't do it as well. Because I will wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I will go to classes till, let's say, 5 p.m. But when I get home from university, from classes during the day, I stay for about the next 2 hours having a fun talk with the guys on the hall. And then by 8 p.m., I'm in the books and I don't leave the books until around 1, 2 a.m., some nights, maybe 12 a.m. in the midnight. And that time is spent doing organized revision and preparation for classes tomorrow. It might not be perfect. You might not be able to read the entire lecture or read the entire chapter before, but if it's even to just introduce yourself to the concepts, that goes a long way. So organization and time management are very critical. The next two things are discipline and repetition. And with these four things, you can move mountains. And this is applicable to any different aspect in your life. So discipline. You know, I read a book by Ian Boyne, Profiles in Excellence, and he was speaking about he took a quote from Usain Bolt and Shelley and Fraser Price, and one of the very important principles that came out of their success was discipline. You know, while on campus, I used to witness Usain Bolt coming down to the track, even off season, and he would prepare, and I would watch him and I said, but this man already has the world record and he's still working hard. And I learned in that moment that what separates the high achieving person from the average person is that the high achieving student, which is you and you other person and all of the people who are watching this video right now, once you're watching this, you already have the drive. You have already sought out the information that you would need to propel you forward. So you're doing the right thing. The difference between that high achiever and the regular student is the high achieving student knows, and now you know it, that the regular student will not have the discipline to put in the work that is required to reap the success. And it's almost automatic. Almost automatic. Once you put in the work, you will invariably get back the results that you've put in. Doesn't mean that you don't need to work smart. Typically, I hear students say, work hard and not work smart, or work smart and not work hard. You have to do both, to be honest. You have to work hard and you have to work smart. And finally, repetition. From primary school, I mean, we're all Jamaicans. We all know the saying, repetition is the key to learning. I don't know if that is international or it's just Jamaican. You can tell me in the comments or whenever. But you have to repeat what you've read. You have to repeat what was taught. You have to repeat it. I mean, if you ask a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, or 4-year-old baby to say ABC, ABC, and they sing it off, they can sing it from now till tomorrow. And you can sing it because you've repeated it so many times throughout your lifetime. And it's the same principle. I could get into the neuronal pathways that support this principle, but once you repeat something, you consistently repeat it, you consistently tell your mind or your brain or the neurons that this leads to this, leads to this, then the pathways will be reinforced over time, over time, over time. And if you read something today, and let's say you read the alphabet, and the only thing you remember are the consonants, so you don't remember the vowels. You read it tomorrow, you remember all the consonants and you remember a few of the vowels. You read it the next time, you remember all the consonants, you remember most of the vowels. And if you read it the next time, it's very, very likely that you're going to remember the entire alphabet. Because each time you read it, you remember something more, you remember something more. So you keep smoothing off the wall, you keep smoothing off the pavement. And so those four principles they've taken me from being a regular student in high school, to be honest. I mean, I tell people all the time, I told my friend recently, when I was leaving high school, I didn't leave high school with all ones. It's shocking, I know. I mean, people out there now, unfortunately, have all ones and they can't get into medicine. That's a different story for a different day. We might have to talk about that later on in the show, but I'm not sure. But I didn't leave with all ones, and that's partly because of my doing. I didn't take academics as seriously as I should have back then, and it nearly costed me, you know. But because of the drive and because of my determination, because of my discipline, my organizational skills, because of my knowledge of how important repetition is, my time management skills, because of all those factors combined with the will and the can-do spirit, it became second nature to achieve, because it's almost as though you get a reward feeling from achieving, and it keeps propelling you forward and forward and more forward. And you can do it as well. Whatever I have achieved, you can also achieve it by God's grace.
Indeed. Thank you. Am I on? Thank you. Okay, I'm coming on. Thank you, Dr. Montague. Okay, I'm changing devices here. So, okay, beautiful. So thank you so much for all of those words of wisdom to our students. We're going to proceed now to a recording from Dr. Okay, so just let's proceed to the recording.
I'm Julian Gordon. I'm a medical doctor. I work at KPH, and I just wanted to spend some time to tell you of my journey from pure and applied sciences to medicine and becoming a medical doctor, right? And hopefully you can learn something from my journey. All right, so my story. In a nutshell, I applied to medical school four times. I got through on my fourth application, right? So the first time was after high school. I went to Monroe College. After high school, I applied, didn't get through. I applied again after the first year of pure and applied, which is now science and technology. Never got through either. I applied after finishing the degree, didn't get through. And then after doing the degree, I went to Montague Bay Community College. I spent a year doing over the Capes, and then I applied and got through. So yes, the fourth time was the charm for me. All right, so why med school? Why medicine? Initially, at the start, when I applied from high school to university, I just knew I loved science subjects. I love biology, chemistry, physics, math. Right, so I wanted to do something that was science inclined, right? So I had applied to med school, and I had also applied to pure and applied sciences, scientific. So I never got through. Most of us never got through from high school. Went to pure and applied. Did the first year and never got through, and so every rejection I got just got worse and worse. I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. I just felt sad. I felt like I was just walking through a barren wasteland. Until the third rejection, when I finished my degree in science and technology. I did animal biology. I finished my degree. I decided, okay, I need to know if I'm going to do postgrad in science and tech, or if I'm going to go to med school. So what I did was to volunteer, and a lot of people didn't do this. I wanted to know what being a doctor was like. So I went to Cornwall Regional Hospital the summer of third year, and I said, I want to spend my entire summer working here, part of the summer in a lab, and the other part working with a doctor to see how the job actually is. And so they said I wouldn't be able to go on the wards because I'm not a medical student, but I could work with a pathologist. And I was like, okay, fine. So went down to the pathology lab with the pathologist down there, and after the first week, I just loved it. I really loved it. I knew that I wanted to do medicine because it was what I wanted to do for free. It was what I could do for free. I mean, I spent my whole summer there. I never got a dime, right? I woke up every morning wanting to go there. So that was the reason. But most people don't know what medicine entails. They just see medicine as the in thing and the only thing that you can do to make money in Jamaica. Trust me, there are a ton load of other things you can do to make money, and there are a ton load of other things that are good, even better, right? But medicine was what I wanted to do, right? Because it was what I would do for free. So after that time spent at Cornwall, I went and did my CAPES. I applied to a community college, did over my CAPES, and finally got through. So in a nutshell, that's why I wanted to do medicine. This is important for you because as many people you say wanting to go into med school, a lot of people who are in med school want to leave or don't make it to second or third year or even to clinicals. They don't make it because it's really and truly not what they want to do. It's not what they're interested in, and they just got caught in the hype with everybody wanting to do medicine and how society looks at medicine. If it is that you want to do medicine just because of how society looks at it, or it's because of what your parents want you to do, trust me, quit while you can. You're going to cause yourself a lot of stress and a lot of heartache. All right? So that's it in a nutshell. So looking back, how did science and technology help me in my journey to become a doctor? So moving from high school to university is a big challenge. So having a year or having 3 years doing a degree, when I started med school, it was the transition wasn't hard at all for me. I was already a university student. I knew how to manage my time. I knew how to focus, knew how to get my work done, that sort of thing. The only thing different was the volume. I don't even think med was harder than pure and applied sciences. It was just the volume of work that we had to cover in a short period of time. And I got adjusted to that pretty easy within like the first 2 weeks of school. So pure and applied did really help me. There were some other courses that I did, some immunology and parasitology courses that we also did in med. And so the notes that I had from pure and applied really helped me. The knowledge from pure and applied also helped me to cover those pretty easy. So while other students had a problem with the microbiology and the parasitology and the immunology, that was easy. I breezed through that. So some courses were similar. The bad decisions that I made. One bad decision I think I would have made is that I lived in the future too much. So when in pure and applied sciences, instead of just appreciating what was there to be learned, I pondered more on, how am I going to get into med school? Feeling bad for myself, feeling sorry all the time, pitying myself all the time, instead of just appreciating the journey where I am now, and focusing on getting to where I want to be. I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, and no one should do that. So you're in pure and applied sciences, and if you're sure it is med that you want to do, then apply for the transfer. Work hard, but enjoy the reality that you have there now. There's a lot to learn in pure and applied sciences. So that's my only bad decision. How things are now. So I'm a medical doctor now. I work at KPH, and trust me, things tough down there. I work 7 days a week. Occasionally I'll get a day off. I get a day off every 6 days. So this is how I get to do this video now. This is my day off. Work is rough down there, but as I say, I love it. I love it. I'm currently on general medicine right now, and I love what I do. The salary. All right, so the salary of a doctor, an intern, is $144,000 a month. But there are also duties that you work to increase your money. Most of our money is duty money. So my last paycheck, I carried home $331,000, right? Because I did like 8 duties, and that it moved the money up to that. So the salary is pretty decent, and you can live pretty comfortably off that salary. All right. The time though, majority of my time is spent in a hospital. So so balancing other aspects of my life is it can be a challenge. For one, work life and social life, work life and prayer life, because I'm a Christian. You have to find ways to balance it. So your life, if you choose medicine, it will not be orthodox. So for the normal person, date night is Friday night after work. You go and chill with your significant other or your friends or whatever. That don't happen. Friday night, I'm on duty trying to stop bleeding from a man's chest. Right? I don't sleep Friday nights, or most Friday nights. I don't get to sleep. All right, but you have to do something unorthodox, like have date night on Tuesday night, or go out with your friends for a lunch break or something. You have to find different ways to do it. Your life won't be as orthodox as everyone else's, which is why I'm saying that if you really and truly don't want to do it, don't do medical school. If it is that you don't want to do it, all right. There are other ways to earn a decent salary, right? Even way more, right? So that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, you can email me at juliangordon9@gmail.com. I'll be as quick as possible in responding, all right? Have a good day, and I hope this helped.
Able to come in person because he is working. Okay, so it's time to ask some questions. I'm getting a little bit of a feedback, so give me 1 second.
The sound is gone.
Okay, I think I'm on now. So I was saying you're going to experience some challenges no matter what field it is that you choose to go into. So this report says it's entitled Bitter Medicine, Aspiring Doctors Rejected by UE Amid Space and Tuition Dilemma. And so these are students with 9-1s and 10-1s, these wonderful things. And it says here, both have been referred to read for undergraduate degrees in science and technology. That's our faculty. Esther, under the urging of her mother, has accepted the lesser offer reluctantly, while Isaac has opted out. His dream is to do medicine, full stop. So the question is FST the lesser offer? What do people have to say about that? What does Dr. Montague have to say about that? And then I have another news report. Some persons have indicated they want to do medicine they want to do medicine for security reasons. And so I have here a news report dated July 12, 2020, and it says, "No work amid public health crisis. Hospitals reportedly ceased employing medical professionals due to budgetary constraints caused by COVID-19." And in this report, it speaks about persons who were given for jobs and those offers were rescinded. So some persons may think that, yeah, man, once I do medicine, I have a secure, safe job. What do you say about this, Montague? Okay, Doc. Okay, he's back with us.
Are you hearing me now?
I am not here.
Right. So the audio is a bit low, so I'm struggling to hear the questions as clearly, but I think I got the essence. And you're asking, is FST the less of the two deals?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Does medicine guarantee you job security?
I'm struggling to hear the questions as clearly, but I think I got the essence.
Okay, so for the first question, for everything there's a time and place under the sun, and each crop has its season. So it's very difficult to compare apples and oranges to identify one as being lesser than the other. Certainly, I have friends who have done very well in science and technology. These are very young people, just like myself, gone into food chemistry, working with Berger paints afterwards. Those are the other ones who have done the different arms of chemistry. And I've had friends who have been through medical school and who have graduated as doctors, and they have done very well for themselves, Dr. Gordon. So I would never say FST is the lesser of the two, because for me, my initial plan when I arrived in FST was to do something in biotechnology. I was more concerned with the guy Oscar Pistorius and his mechanical limb, and I was fascinated by that at the time. He's a runner, I believe, an Olympian, and I was fascinated by how well he was doing with the fashioned limb, and that was what I wanted to veer off into the physics of that and the biology of prosthesis. However, I've gone into medicine, and I still have that love in the back of my mind. So maybe I will take the road of orthopedic surgery, and with an emphasis on limb prosthesis. But to compare the two is very difficult to compare bananas and pineapples. So I wouldn't say one is less than the other. Each individual has to find his or her niche. You have to find where you flourish the best. I mean, I have a friend, she always says, bloom where God has planted you. You know, everyone can do well in a different area. The challenge with science and tech sometimes is that a lot of students feel as though rejected students have been sent to science and technology, and that's far from true. That's very, very far from true, because a lot of students in science and technology, I can tell you, being a member of both faculties, a lot of students in science and technology are, I would describe as more astute, they are more academically inclined, they are more diligent students than other students in other faculties that will remain unnamed, even medical science faculty. So no faculty, in my opinion, is better than another faculty. Okay, it's very difficult to compare both. as regards to the second question, does medicine grant you job security? To comment on the COVID situation, it's very difficult to comment on that situation as well. Don't know much about it in terms of contracts being rescinded. So I don't have the facts in that department to fully comment. What I can say is you are guaranteed your internship. You're also guaranteed SHO, that's the senior house officer year. And what each individual does after SHO would be dependent on that individual. There are many different avenues to take after that point. You can choose to specialize in Jamaica. You can choose to specialize internationally. You can choose to go privately to work with somebody more established. There are many different avenues. There's a demand for doctors, I would believe. I don't know fully. But I believe that there's a demand for doctors across the island, from what I have seen with my limited eyes, but I'm not everywhere. But from what I've seen with my limited eyes, there is a demand because a lot of hospitals have a lot of sick people who want to be attended to. And so that would help if doctors were there to attend to these sick people. I'm trying to be as politically correct as I can to avoid any unnecessaries. But in the matter of job security, I do know that you're guaranteed your internship and you're guaranteed your senior house officer year, and you're almost guaranteed the years to come after that. But it's based on the individual's preference. Maybe I'm not sure if I answered the question adequately. Maybe you could rephrase it to get exactly what you want me to say.
But it's based on the preference. Maybe I'm not sure if I answered the question adequately.
No problem. I mean, you can't comment on the report, but I said this was a report.
Exactly
Just it's a report from a couple of months ago. So it also says that among the doctors affected are some specialists and senior house officers who would have completed the internship, they're offered posts, and then those posts were no longer available. So
well, I'm not
I think
sure.
the truth of the
I'm not sure about that.
matter is that irrespective of what field you get into, life gives us no guarantee. COVID-19 has all that there are no guarantees that offers us.
Well,
So
you've said it
now
even better
proceed
than
to questions. Are there any questions we have from the audience? Anyone has any questions?
I see a question in the comment section saying, "Are you guaranteed SHO if you study abroad and come back to Jamaica?"
Can't see.
From Jotham.
From
Jotham.
Where I'm at.
Omariji. Right, Jotham. I'm not sure. And to be frank, I'm not even sure if you're even
can you see
that SHO slot if you have studied in Jamaica, because I'm aware of different Caribbean countries which will remain unnamed that doctors aren't guaranteed an SHO slot. And as Dr. Gallimore adequately said, there are no guarantees in life, and life is very dynamic, so just be prepared in whatever you do, be it medicine or otherwise, to be flexible, and always try to be the best in your niche, so as to give yourself a slight competitive advantage. If the case so be that spaces are limited for whatever it is, because everybody will want the Shelley and Fraser, and everybody will want the Usain Bolt. What does my study timetable look like during medical school? If possible, in depth. Rick Brown. Rick, Oh, there's the next question. What is your advice for level one students doing chemistry? And what's the best way to learn chemistry? I think that level one chemistry is 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 better answered by my other colleague. I think he should take that one.
Okay, thank you. All right, so level one chemistry is easy. Chemistry is easy on a whole, right? I advise you guys when doing level one chemistry to learn it and practice the questions as you get them. I recommend you strongly to do your tutorials and before you go to the tutorial sessions and get the textbooks and read ahead of the class. Do past paper questions, work in groups. I found that over the years tutoring that course that when students work together and divide the labor, so for example, you're a student is stronger in analytical chemistry than you are, you can give them to get grasp of that and you teach each other the different areas of chemistry. And then you can send a past paper to the lecturers. I mean, they are happy to see when students make this type of effort. I remember when I was doing level one chemistry, I used to do my past paper questions and I give the lecturers them to mark it and they put a grade and they said why they take off the grade. So things like that you can do to help yourself. Um, there are also other avenues available. People do tutor level one chemistry. There we had a peer-led chemistry peer-led session. I'm not sure if it's going to be held for next semester, but those are also some avenues you could adventure. So do your tutorials, keep ahead of the class, read the textbook, 2 hours of reading for every chemistry chapter. And practice the questions and learn as you go. All right, so I'd like to also give a comment since I have a little bit more time on the previous question about the availability of certain positions. Like my colleague also said, nothing is guaranteed because persons were laid off in some science areas as well, not just things were rescinded in medicine, things people were laid off in science and other areas as well, right across the board. COVID-19 has created a unique situation for us right across the board. But you always have to remember that where there are trials, there comes opportunities. For every different circumstances, there's an opportunity that you can exploit to make yourself marketable using the science, using the things that you learned here at this faculty and in other faculties as well to make yourself more marketable. I did a presentation recently for the faculty about COVID-19 science in action, and I gave about 5 or 6 different ways how students within this faculty made some development to help to combat the different challenges that came with COVID-19 pandemic. So they use the science and the innovation to come with some solutions to some of these immediate problems. For example, issue with manufacturing, how we can make our own ready-made stuff here with local resources versus importing stuff from overseas. Things like that you can do. We taught students how to make their own hand sanitizers using chemistry. So you can make yourself marketable with the science that you learn, with the knowledge that you get in this faculty. You can make a difference using science, using medicine, using anything you learn. I hand over back.
Okay. What was my study timetable like during medical school, and if I could go in depth in my study timetable? Well, in medicine, in the faculty of medicine, the lectures are the timetable is fixed, so everybody goes to the same scheduled classes. And that makes it easier to organize your studying rather than having to pick the individual classes that like what happens in other faculties. So the specific details I'm willing to share. I'm not sure how detailed I can get across this medium, but I'm very active on my social media pages or even my email. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Tarif Montaque. That's TAREEFE MONTAQUE. You can find me on Twitter. You can DM me. I will help. I will find the time because that's what I do. Even while in medical school, I found time to tutor other members of my class. I would go and I would help them in the anatomy lab, and I would give back because by doing that, I would also help myself to reinforce some of the material. But in terms of specific details of the study timetable, it would be dependent on the year of the medical school, or it could also be dependent on the semester as well, because different years and different semesters have different workloads and different expectations from different courses. So it's hard to specify what the study timetable looked like, but it does involve around, let's say on average, 8 to 10 hours per day of studying. And closer to the exam, it might, for some people, let me not say me alone, but for some people, I've seen them do close to 16 hours per day. And all-nighters are necessary for some people. For some, like myself, I have to get a good night's rest. So sometimes I tap out from 12 and I don't wake until like 7:30 to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep most nights. But some people function on like 4 hours consistently and they do well, you know. But specifically, it's hard to tell you exactly what the study timetable was like because it's very, very specific to the different years. Oh, I see a question asking, okay, now that I'm a doctor, if I have any, oh, I hope this is okay to ask, but if someone had the option to study abroad and study at Jamaica, both going down the path of medicine, which one would I recommend? I'd recommend studying in Jamaica because medicine across the world is medicine, okay? But I would always recommend studying in Jamaica because the training in Jamaica and the training at UA is second to none in my estimation from what I've seen. There's also a cost factor. Comparatively, the price to study medicine across the rest of the industrialized countries in the world is much higher, much higher than studying in Jamaica. But the quality does not does not correlate. So the quality that you get in Jamaica I think, let me just check what's happening there. A bit of motion sensing was necessary. Right, but I would recommend studying in Jamaica essentially. How marketable is a degree in chemistry? Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, so the real question is what jobs can you not get with a chemistry degree? That is the real question. So students approach me these type of questions every year, and every year we have a session within the department about what's next, and we invite people from the industry and to talk to students. We have persons from industry, have a lecturer there, and sometimes we have persons who start their own business using chemistry, and they tell them how marketable chemistry is. It is very marketable. Everybody I know who has gotten a chemistry degree has a job, right? Well, especially before COVID-19. I don't know what is happening now during COVID-19 because it has affected a lot of the job opportunities that was usually there, but I can assure you that it is very marketable. Some areas are more marketable than others. For example, in the last panel discussion we have in What's Next, we were told that environmental chemistry was a very hot type of chemistry right now in the industry because everybody wants to open up a new plant, and to open a new plant, you have to meet the Jamaican standards for the type of waste that you're releasing and how you process things. You have to meet certain standards. So an environmental chemist was crucial at that time. I don't know how the industry has kind of shift this year. I'm not sure, but from what I've gathered, chemistry degrees are always in demand. Just a couple months ago, somebody from a company, not from a company, from Bureau of Standards asked me if I knew anybody who was available to get a job because they needed somebody right now. You know, so that alone tells me that they're constantly looking for people. It's very difficult for you to be out of a job with a chemistry degree. From what I've been hearing from the persons who are working in the industry, has been telling me they always want somebody. And you have to also recognize that a chemistry degree is not something that is widely done as well. So less and less persons are doing science, so it's hard and hard to get persons into these job X sectors as well. All right.
Now that I'm a doctor, do I have any other areas in life that I'm focused in or goals, and what are they? For me personally, I have a lot of different non-medicine ambitions and interests. Uh, I'm a family man, firstly, so all my decisions will be based on what benefits my family. But specifically in terms of other areas that I'm interested in, I currently I make and sell banana chips. I know it sounds cliche because I'm from St. Mary, but I do make and sell banana chips, and I will not use this medium to peddle my banana chips. Other interests that I have. um, I have recently found a new love for real estate and land development. So I told my friend recently that I'm a developer. So if you have lands that you don't want, and I will buy it from you, and I will turn it into something beautiful because I like to build. So that's another interest that I have. And finally, I think I'm also inclined to enter politics one day in the future if the nation calls upon me to lead. But that's a decision that I will allow God to guide. But it underscores a very important point that you have to have other interests in life. You can't just, if you love chemistry, you love chemistry, but you can't just sit in the lab and just work chemistry all day. You have to find something else to occupy your space and your time. If you love medicine, you can't just sit in the hospital all day. And even when I'm out with my doctor friends, I don't feel comfortable if all we can talk about is what happened at KPH and what happened at UE or what happened at the hospital and how the hospital is this, and we should be able to talk about different things, and that's what makes the experience a little bit more wholesome. What are the research opportunities, Judini? Okay, well, the research opportunities currently available in Jamaica for doctors, you don't okay, they can't be numbered, the amount of research opportunities are there, and you don't even have to wait till you've completed medical school to conduct researches. Um, I remember when I was in science and technology, I was very active in research. I helped Dr. Gallimore with her research sometimes, but specifically to medicine, the faculty, the UE is a teaching and research institution, and it prides itself on pioneering different research. And if you walk over to the MedSci building, I don't know if that's still possible nowadays. I mean, everything is virtual. But if you walk over to the MedSci building and you find any lecturer, almost guaranteed that one of them will be conducting a research. And you can simply ask to be a part of the research process, and they will find something to give you to do. So there are many opportunities. If you go over by the UE hospital, and you express your interest to assist in any research project, they will assist you. I mean, I know there was a program called Research Day, and they would showcase the different researches that are on the way, and different ideas, and that's something that you could also look into. Usually held in February. That's something you can look forward to. And the different this depends on your interest, and the different researches would be dependent on different specialties and what has not yet been found and what would be of benefit to the population, what new information would be of benefit to the population, and we can look into different things to further inform our decisions, because medicine is evidence based, and that's how you move the country forward with research. I'm big on research. If I had the money, I would fund all the research that I could, because that's how you move a nation forward. It has to be guided by thorough, rigorous research. But thanks for that question, Judini. I'm very forward thinking of you. My email address, Veronica, it's TAREEFEMONTAQUE@yahoo.com. And I'm very responsive on these platforms. Right. Okay, Rick Brown.
Okay. So I have a question. Is litigation a big issue in Jamaica? I know that doctors, in the US in particular, persons over there, litigation is a big issue. Persons suing doctors all the time. Is that a big issue?
That's a good question, Dr. Gallimore. Litigation is something that almost every doctor keeps in the back of his or her mind every day. Whether you're operating in Jamaica or you're operating in the States, you keep litigation in the back of your mind, not only because of the potential fallout from a lawsuit, but also just because you want to do right by your patient. It's always good to do right by your patient, and that's what you always want to do first. And so most times I believe we keep it in the back of our minds to help us along the right track. But some people I've seen where people operate solely based on the risk of a lawsuit, and I mean I don't operate like that, because it limits what you can do for an individual. So all you have to do is just operate within the framework that you're allowed, and if you do the right things, then you shouldn't have a problem. But people do file lawsuits all the time in Jamaica. I mean, I don't know the specifics of different cases, but I also know that people are also very trusting of their doctors in Jamaica. We try our best to give our best to our patients, so as to minimize any adverse outcomes for the patient, which would warrant anyone thinking to sue the individual or the hospital or the complex or the business. But it's something that you keep in the back of your mind nonetheless, and yeah, you try to do the best by your patients.
Dr. Gallimore, your mic is mute.
Dr. Gallimore? Oh, you are still muted. Sorry about that.
Yes, Dr. Gallimore, you're still on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
All right. So we have just a few more questions we want to ask. So I know in the comments, a student has asked about the COVID-19, the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, and how you guys are dealing with that. A student has asked about the COVID-19, the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, and how you guys are dealing with that. Dr. Montaque.
How are you coping with the COVID-19 pandemic as a doctor? How are you coping with the COVID-19 pandemic as a doctor? It's certainly a new frontier. Initially, I was intrigued by the concept of the new normal. As time progressed, I have been a little less averse to the concept of the new normal. I believe that humans are adaptable individuals, and that, I mean, as much as I would want to see the children in school, if the health professionals have deemed it unsafe for them to be in school, I believe that they are able to adapt to the virtual realm. As a doctor specifically working in the hospitals, it's sometimes very disheartening when we see individuals outside pretending as though the virus does not exist. We do the virus is real according to the WHO and according to all the different regulatory bodies that prove these things. But individuals are entitled to their own opinions, and they some people don't believe that it's real. I've seen a lot of different strange things on the internet, blaming 5G, blaming Pope, blaming all manner of strange things. And I won't get into that aspect of it, but we've seen COVID patients. A lot of COVID patients look normal. I've seen patients myself who look even more, who would look just like how I look and talk just like how I talk. However, the individual would test positive for the virus, and I guess these are who they would describe as silent spreaders. And there are other patients who are more moderately and who are more severely ill. I mean, we live in a resource-stricken country, and we don't have all the necessary amenities that we would want to have. But despite all of that, we are trying our best, and we are trying to cope with the pandemic, and at the same time balance some semblance of normalcy or some semblance of sustainability, instead of trying to shock the world and the population into this new normal. So it's a balancing act. There are a lot of different parts moving. There are a lot of different moving parts, and it's a very delicate situation because it's new. I've never in my 40 years of life seen any situation that would cause all airplanes to be grounded. So initially it was very alarming. I mean, as time progressed, and I do sense that people will become desensitized, which I don't want people to become 100% desensitized to the virus and the risk associated with the virus. But I wouldn't want anyone to remain in a state of panic. So what I would advise is that people try to balance a state of cautiousness against just be cautious, but not overly what's the word, vigilant. So you have to be vigilant, but not overly vigilant. You understand? To maintain some level of functionality in the wider society. It's a difficult question to answer, and I hope all my ramblings would come back to an important point of balancing life against the risks, because with life comes risks, and that's just how it works with almost everything, including the pandemic.
Before you continue, I just want to point out that in our faculty series, we also debunked the idea that 5G is causing COVID-19. So I encourage you guys to go and look it up. It's on YouTube, Science in Action. I think it was series 3, where a lecturer from physics department debunked the whole idea that 5G caused COVID-19. And we would actually learn that 5G was around before COVID-19 was even discovered. All right, just pointing that out.
Balancing social life
Right.
and school and having time for myself. Look, it's that's a difficult balancing act, to be honest, because I mean, I remember distinctly the year that I was hall chairman for Chancellor Hall. If I usually get A pluses in everything, for that specific year, I found myself getting A's and A minuses. So you have to know your limit. You have to know how much you can manage, um, non-academically. I wouldn't tell you to go and try and be guild president or go to TJF every Friday night and all those other clubs. I don't even know the different clubs, crew and whatever they want to be called, and 100 and wherever they are. And I wouldn't say do all of that if you know that you are the individual who needs to study on a Friday night. You know, um, you have to know yourself and you have to know your different limits. I didn't make it to all the different integration Thursdays. I didn't make it to all the carnivals. I made it to a few. So I knew how much I could sacrifice and still maintain the priority, because the priority is getting the degree with the highest possible grade point average that you have set for yourself. But for me personally, I know my aptitude. I know how much I am able to consume in terms of academics, and I know the amount of time that I can allow myself to waste. You know, so it's a delicate balancing act, and with practice, you will find your own specific balance.
Awesome. Thanks, Dr. Montague. We've gotten some wonderful perspectives today, not just from a postgrad in FST, but from doctors. You know, some of the things that stand out, you have to work hard, have to be studying, devote time to study. And the decision is not necessarily an easy one in terms of, do you go into medicine or do you stay in FST, for example? But a lot of it has to do with your passion, right? So it's very important to think about what you're passionate about. And of course, it's hard work. Develop good study habits, of course. Start taking into consideration a lot of what Marcel mentioned, a lot of those tips for first years and even for our second years. So there are some critical ones. So we really want to thank you for coming to share with our students. I'm sure they appreciated it, and they'll probably tell us in the comments. They're already telling us in the comments how much they appreciate it, and I'm sure they will get in touch with you as well. Not sure if Dr. Gallimore is still on with us,
but you should see some notices. So we're having a first gen FST session next Thursday with Professor Donna Hope. And then we'll have Dr. Gallimore to do some closing remarks. Dr. Gallimore, I think you're still muted.
Dr. Gamma, I think you're okay now. You can speak.
Just wrap it. Okay, I think I'm on again. All right, I just want to. I'm okay now. Yeah, yeah. I couldn't not unmute myself. I have some technical issues, but I really want to thank everyone for coming on and for sharing with our students. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Dr. Marks, for coming in and saving the day. Appreciate that. So Donna Hope, get you more details regarding that session. She's a first in her gen. It's been a thank you all for coming on. And of course, share with your friends so from the information that was passed on today. Thank you, Dr. Montague. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Gordon, via recording. And thank you, Dr. Mark.
Before we go, Dr. Gallimore,
yourselves a wonderful all the technical support.
Before will each of us be allowed to do a closing remark?
Yeah, you can, you can.
Will each of us be allowed to do a closing remark? All right, could I go first?
Okay.
Or shall I allow? Okay, all right. So again, I would like to thank everyone for being here. Thank Dr. Gallimore for inviting me. I'd like to thank Dr. Montague for taking the time out of his busy schedule. I know he must have been very busy to facilitate something like this. All right. So again, I would like to thank everyone for Montague. Students, I would just like to point out the fact that the decision is up to you. You have control over your life. You can make a decision that can shape and better your life in any way you want possibly. You have that power. Science can take you anywhere you want to take. I didn't mention it before, but I got my visa through science. All right, I got to travel the world. Well, not the world. I went overseas and did some presentation because of science. I've met a lot of persons all around the world who came together for a chemistry conference. Science can take you places. You don't have to do medicine. If you want medicine just to take it, think that medicine alone can take you places, that's not true. Science can take you places. This faculty, the knowledge you get here can take you anywhere you want to go. Do you want fame? Science can give you that. Do you want money? Science can get you there. You have to always recognize, science, the purpose of a scientist is to answer and solve problems. Because the world is always having problems, as a scientist, you will never ever be out of a job because there's always going to be a problem. You can answer. using the science you learn here in this faculty. All right? I just want to encourage you guys, work hard, study hard, play hard, and work together. Again, the workload gets a lot easier when you guys separate it out, divide the workload amongst yourselves. Everybody not be strong in one area of whichever course you're doing. You can split it up and you guys can study together, work together. Teamwork is really important in everything that you guys do. You have to be ready to put in the work and work together as a team. Just remember as well that university doesn't have a limit on first class honors. If all 500 of you get first class honors, they will award all 500 of you first class honors. All right? It can happen. In my year, we worked together, we studied together, and my year, I think we got the highest amount of first class honors in the department in a long time. We took about 33% of the first class honors in the faculty, and that was obtained through teamwork. If I was strong in one area, I helped out the person who was weak. The other person who was stronger in other areas of chemistry, they helped me. And that is how we kind of work together, and that is how we excel. So when we win, when we won together. And I want to drive that message home for you. Science can give you anything you want. You can get it through science. Work hard, work together, and watch the awards, watch the accolades, watch the different opportunities just flow in one right after the other. All right. Thank you again for having me. I wish you all the best.
Well, let me just take this opportunity to thank the people who have come out and the people who have listened and the presenters. I mean, I learned. Let me just take this opportunity to thank the people who have come out. I learned from this presentation, and I'm happy I found the time to impart what little I know. Um, life life is unpredictable, and you guys, the world is at your footstep. Just go out and be great. There's a lot out there for you to achieve. So just go out and be great.